What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back doing another preview video. This one is going to be a big game because it's something we got to see in the World Cup happening. It's going to be Ireland versus Japan. It's going to be a real big game. What we do in these preview videos, we chuck a game of Rugby 20 on in the background of the teams actually playing, and then over the top we talk about the official teams named and some of the squad choices, who we think is going to go do badly, who we think is going to do well, and we give a score prediction at the end. So we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get this game kicked off and underway. Alrighty, Tamora is going to get us kicked off and underway. We'll start off going to the left here. Let's mix it up. We are in the rain. It's a rainy Irish day in the game. So, what is going to be happening in this game? Japan versus Ireland. This is going to be a big clash for both teams. Of course, this game did happen in the World Cup in 2019, and for that, Ireland, I would say, were probably favourites. They were probably favourites to top the pool, and then Japan came out of nowhere and just absolutely smashed everyone in that pool. Had a really good tournament for them, getting themselves through into that quarter-final stage, beating everyone in their pools, and they went on there to actually beat Ireland quite comfortably, in all honesty. So, big game for Ireland here to try and come back as Valu tries to make a very difficult run there through the middle. So, who should we start off talking about? Let's start off talking about Ireland, seeing as they are going to be the home team. Ireland had an alright Six Nations. They certainly will be looking to improve on some certain areas. Their best game for me was probably the game they had against Scotland. They looked the most dominant in that game, being able to win lineouts and certain set play areas. I think they were looking much better. They did, of course, have a real nasty loss to Wales in one of their first games because they had that red card with Peter O'Mahony. So they were in a lot of trouble from the get-go, but they managed to actually retain a bit of a decent enough sort of tournament for themselves. They'll be relatively happy with it, but they'll be looking to improve for next year, especially looking forward to the next World Cup. And this team actually has a little bit of a luxury of they haven't got a lot of players off with the Lions. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but not a lot of Irish players have been chosen. And some key areas key players have been left out for this Ireland team in total. We've got no Johnny Sexton, we've got Keith Earls, no Cian Healy. They've all been left to do their club level stuff, and they're playing a bit of a new team here. So let's talk about the Ireland team that's going to be playing here. As Lemecki making a great little run around the outside. Let's just see if he can make this all the way. Oh, he's snaking in and out. Superb little run. So the Japan game coming up. Ireland. Let's check out the team. Let's check it on screen for you guys. So that front row there, Kilcoyne, Kelleher and Beelum. That's a solid front row. So, first thing to notice here, Ireland obviously wary of what Japan are going to be able to bring to this game. They know the attack that we've seen. The Japan team have already played the Lions, so they get to see a little bit of how they're going. They know how solid the Japanese scrum and even the mauling can be from them. They were doing pretty well in that, to be fair. So they wanted to load up on their big boys in that front row. They haven't got Tyg Furlong, of course, off with the Lions, so Beelum coming in there, but Kelleher and Kilcoyne, two very good players. I think that'll work quite well for them. Moving into that lock department, Delaney, or Delan, sorry, I always call it Delaney, Delan, hold on, Delan, a very good player, is going to take over that number 4 with no Ian Henderson off with the Lions. James Ryan in here at number 5 shirt as a captain. Now, it was my understanding that James Ryan was actually injured, which is why he wasn't called up and Adam Beard was to the Lions team. Maybe I've got some of my information incorrect there, so nice to see him, and I'm sure he's a decent captain, and he had a really good Six Nations, actually. I've been up and down on my views on James Ryan in the past, but I think he had a really good Six Nations, so nice to see him in there, especially as captain and holding that number 5 shirt. Peter O'Mahony, the red card man from the Six Nations, takes over in that number 6. Of course, no Tyg Byrne, going to be looking for it. As I said, there's not a lot of Irish players off with the Lions. There's a good couple here in this team missing. Van der Vliel take over in that other flanker position, and finally Doris will finish in that number 8. Now, I think as a forward 8-pack, this is almost a starting team, for a Six Nations or a World Cup team. There's not a lot of key players missing here. Maybe you'd want to have Tyg Furlong in instead of Beelum, and maybe you'd want to have someone instead of Delan. But you know what? This is a solid 8-pack, so I'm already expecting to see a lot of work rate from these Irish forward 8. Going to be doing a lot of mauling, a lot of scrummaging. The breakdown area could be a bit of an issue for them. Not a great deal of super high-end jacklers left in this team, of course, with Henderson and Tyg Byrne off with the Lions, but I think in terms of ball possession, when they have it in hand, they'll be able to do pretty well with it. We'll check out the backs quickly. Gibson Park gets into that scrum half position. Of course, Conor Murray out as well with the Lions. So Gibson Park, again, another one, had a really good Six Nations, and I think we'll be making the most of this opportunity now with the Lions, with the Irish team, now that Conor Murray's with the Lions. And Conor Murray not having the most spectacular game out there with the Lions, in all honesty. In the first game we got to see versus Japan, wasn't a bad game, but nothing too much to write home about. So make the most of it now. Gibson Park going in there. In terms of the fly half, we don't have Sexton. He's going to be out of this team completely. It was a big shock. But Joey Carberry coming in. I do like Joey Carberry. Billy Burns not being picked to start, which is a big call. They obviously want to get Joey Carberry back in that shirt. Really like him. It's nice to see him back in this Ireland team. He's had a good while out of this Ireland team. He was a surprise pick for me, so I'm very glad to see him back in. The centre partnership, McCloskey and Farrell. Now, I'm a big fan of Stuart McCloskey. He did really well in the Autumn Nations Cup. I think it was against, was it Georgia? He had that fantastic run, and the try got disallowed because of some ridiculous forward pass by about half a centimetre to a man in huge amount of space. So really harsh for him, but he's a very quick player. Got good game, area about him. He knows what's going on the pitch. Can spread to that wing if you need him to. Very, very good player. As for Farrell, again, solid number 13. I think he's going to work very well there. McCloskey, to me, is a designated inside centre, and I'd actually have Farrell in that outside centre. So to me, the centre partnership, no one having to move around. They're not like we've seen in the Wales team, where they're putting people slightly out of position. I think this will work well for them. In terms of the wingers, this back three for Ireland is a big talking point, because there's a lot of malleability in this team. You've got Stockdale's going to go for the left wing, Lama on the right wing, and Keenan at fullback. And it's a really solid team, this Ireland team, in terms of this back three. So many players that can play every position. Both Stockdale and Lama, and Keenan as well, actually, can play both wings and fullback. So utility in this team is huge. They can really do whatever they want to do and just swap people as they see fit. Personally, I actually really like Keenan. On that right wing position, I think he plays very well there, and I personally prefer Jordan Lama in the fullback position, but a couple of people have put comments down they'd have it the other way around. They don't think Jordan Lama should play fullback. Stockdale still making this team, hasn't played well for a good couple of years, unfortunately, managing to pick it up a little bit more recently, but still waiting to see that form he had from so many years back when he got top try scorer in the Six Nations history books. Very, very good player when he gets going. So on to 15, solid all round, very good team. They're not messing about. They know what Japan are going to bring. Of course, Japan are going to want to bring a solid team to this game as well. They can't afford to be messing about with Japan. They'll want to get a win. They want to make the most of this tournament, especially with getting a few of the lesser capped players in, making the most of it in order to try and get the most out of them. We have kicked off the second half here, so I'll quickly go through the subs. Herring, Byrne and Ryan will all come out in that second half at some point. Baird and Coombs will be making his debut. I thought Coombs already had a cap. Actually, I didn't know that was an uncapped player there, so that'll be nice for him getting on the pitch. But Baird actually playing very well again. Another player that I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more in this Irish team as we move forward. Craig Casey will come in as a replacement scrum half. Again, another one of these situations where I wouldn't be surprised too much if they do 40-50 minutes with Gibson Park and then give Craig Casey a bit of time on the pitch playing an international team. We didn't get to see him as much as we probably thought. Can I actually make this tackle? Well, that was a ridiculous pass. That Irish player was absolutely away then on that wing in the game in the background. But I would like to see more of Craig Casey, so hopefully he can get a little bit of time. Billy Burns, of course, will come on in that second half as well. He's still playing second string to Sexton, so I'm sure he'll want to try and make himself, more dominant in this tournament, not want to fall too far behind Carberry. So I think they'll be able to work well together. And finally, Daly in that 23 shirt, who, again, good versatility, can go on in multiple places, so I'm sure he will make the most of it. So 1 to 23, I think this is a really good team. I would definitely be seeing Ireland wanting to get a win out of this game, especially with a team this big. As Jimeno gets a... Is that not a try? Oh, I thought that was a superb pickup try. I really feel like he got to the line then. That's very harsh. So I think they'll be doing really well. I've spoken for far too long about Ireland. We're into the 60th minute. I've got to talk about this Japan team. So Japan, of course, won this game back in the World Cup. They've already played one game against the Lions. It won't have gone the way they thought it was. They have shown they've got good attack prowess, and they were looking more for those penalty kicks and trying to get those 3 points in. I think it's good game working to not just be desperate to go for those tries and take those 3 points. I think they're working well. That Lions team was just a bit too dominant for them. So it'll be fun to see how they're going to make those switches and those changes for this Ireland team, who won't play in a too dissimilar way in terms of aggressive attack. The defence from this Ireland team will probably be very solid, so going to be hard for Japan to get through. But of course, we need to check out the team. So let's chuck this Japan team on screen. And to be honest, there is not a lot of changes to actually talk about here. The team is quite similar to the team that played the Lions. For anyone who watched the preview video we did for the Japan versus Lions video, only a couple of changes to go through really here. So a couple of the players that were playing very well in that game. Michael Leach, of course, we expect him to do well in that captaincy role. Himeno got himself a try, which is really nice. He almost got himself a try in this game, but apparently the game is a bit harsher than real life. Coup, we know how much he likes to run as a prop. He's doing very well. Van der Vaart was doing okay in terms of the lineouts. The Japan lineout wasn't quite as solid as they would have liked it to have been, but they certainly did okay. Tamura actually played very well, I thought, in terms of trying to running play. He did miss one kick and then got there's two other ones, so it was, what's that, a 60% kicking ratio, but they didn't have a great deal of kick, so a bit unfortunate for him. But in terms of running play, was actually playing very well. Fifita, I'm sure we'll be looking to see a little bit more space open up for him in this game. The Lions' defence was relatively good at being able to shut down. It was quite closed, and there was room in the wings, but they certainly went more towards Matsushima's wing, who has incidentally moved to the fullback position. So a couple of changes coming in there, and the new boy on the right wing, Masawera, is not a name I know too much about, so hopefully he can step up, because in all honesty, Matsushima played very well in that Lions team, against the Lions team, sorry, not in the Lions team. Managing to find his room around Duan van der Merwe a couple of times, trying to make that potential try-scoring opportunity come. He just couldn't quite get that last bit for them, but they played very well against the Lions team. But the one thing for me is that they changed their attack so many times in that game. They were finding something that was working, and then about 10 minutes later, they completely changed their attack to be something else. And I would really like to see them stick with what works rather than trying to shift it around too much. Maybe they were trying to use that game as a bit of a warm-up to see how they wanted to play in the future games, but hopefully they are able to cut down their game a little bit and sort of niche it down a little bit. We are getting towards the game here. I've just seen it's the 80th minute. We better talk about the sub super quickly. Not a lot to talk about in terms of the sub. Valu, who almost got a try in this game as well. Well, did he get a try? No, he had a great little run earlier on. So they'll be coming on at some point, and Matsuda, no doubt, will come on there. But Japan, we know what they're going to be capable of. If you've seen that Lions game, you know what they can bring to the table. Of course, this is the team that beat Ireland only a couple of years ago. So they'll be wanting to come away from this game with a good score, I imagine. They won't want to get absolutely hammered in here. Personally, for me, in terms for the score prediction, I'm going to favour Ireland for this one. I think the Ireland team looks very heavy. I think the scrummaging and the mauls could be big for them. And I think there's a couple of big names in there that won't want to be letting the side down, especially people like Carberry and Gibson Park, who've now got a chance to really make a stamp for their own name in there. I'm going to call it's going to be an Ireland win. I'm going to say Ireland to win by... I'm going to say 18 is going to be my call, but what do I know about rugby? It's just me on the internet talking nonsense. So make sure you drop down in the comments who you think's going to win, what you think the final score will be, who do you think's going to score tries, what do you think's going to happen. I always like reading through the comments on these preview videos. For everyone who hasn't already signed up, we are of course doing the Super Brew Fantasy Run. That is going to be kicking off this weekend as well, so make sure you sign up to that group in order to get involved with some of the fantasy prediction going on. That way you can get involved with the other subscribers on the channel and myself, get a bit of competition going, and if you don't do it this week, you might find yourself falling a little bit behind everyone else, so make sure you sign up to that before this game kicks off on the weekend. I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys. I will be doing these for the other games that are going to be going on through the July internationals, so make sure you subscribe to the channel just to keep up to date with all the latest videos as they come out on the channel. I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.